a celebrity profile. She's pretty and talented, a graduate of Tisch School of Arts from New York City, now living the American dream. Let's get to know Sheetal Sheth. With me today, it is a pleasure to welcome the very pretty Sheetal Sheth to Showbiz India.
Thank you.
Showbiz India Extreme. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And you look great as usual.
Thank you.
You've been very busy.
I've been busy. Yes, it has. It's been a while since I've seen you, I feel.
Yes.
I feel like I've seen you a few times, but it's been a long gap.
Yes, and you've been very busy. We've been watching you on screen though.
Well, I hope so.
Yes. So I wanted to take you down memory lane way from the beginning.
Okay.
Tell me about you. Where were you born? The real basic stuff.
Okay. I was born in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, small little town, and lived there till I was about 12, and then we moved to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is just about 20 minutes from Phillipsburg. People usually kind of know Bethlehem either because of Bethlehem Steel, the Billy Joel song Allentown, which then he talks about Bethlehem, or Lehigh University. Those are kind of our three things that people are like, oh, Bethlehem. If it's not Bethlehem, like, Israel, you know, that whole thing. And then I was there for about 6 years, and then I moved to New York when I went to New York University for acting.
Growing up in America, being Indian, the typical stuff, how did you fit in? Did you ever feel like you didn't fit in?
You know, it was one of those things where you don't think about it because you're just a kid hanging out with your friends until you become a little bit older, and then everyone starts noticing those things more. You know how kids don't care really about that stuff, which is the beauty of it. Yeah, and all of a sudden everyone's talking about stuff and starting to define each other when you're trying to get to know yourself and you think you're a teenager and know everything, and everything's being put into groups and this and that. And you know, my family was really involved in our temple and our community, so that is when I started to somehow realize that this was going to become, for some people, an issue. The fact that I was Indian American, or that might obviously affect my work and my opportunities and so forth and so on, which you just don't, you shouldn't. Certainly something I didn't think about, and then you do. To be honest with you, growing up the way I did, I feel like I won the lottery just in the fact that being born in this country itself, especially coming from India, is the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And my parents coming here and putting their whole life over here, which must have been very difficult, just to give us the opportunities that they didn't have. You know, I always talk to my parents about it when people complain about their kids and they're too American, or they did this or they didn't do that, or oh my God, what did we do wrong? And I'm, you know, always, thankfully they get it as well and say, you know, they made the decision to come here. It wasn't us.
Right.
They decided to come to America to give us a certain life that they didn't have for whatever reason, or because they wanted opportunities for themselves and their family. That was why they came. So that whole thing comes with the picture. You can't sit here and think that wouldn't have happened, that you wouldn't come here and assimilate somewhat into an American Western idea, which isn't bad. There's certainly pros and cons to both.
Sure.
And it's about finding the balance of both. And I'm very lucky to have such a strong traditional value system, I think, especially nowadays in this world, and to combine it with the perspective and the opportunities and the kind of modern way of so much of America. With all that, I think is a great combination.
Quite a place you picked. It's going to be real hard for me to make a scene.
That's the idea.
Look, Sam, you won't be able to sweep me off my feet. You couldn't do it when we were together, and you certainly won't be able to do it now.
And were there a lot of Indians around?
In Pennsylvania, yeah. In New Jersey, not so much, but when we moved, there's a huge community of South Asians in Bethlehem, around that area between Allentown and Bethlehem and Easton. And then I got to meet more people then at that point in my life. And I actually learned how to speak Hindi by watching Bollywood movies.
I was just going to say that. You know, it's so interesting to me. In the U.S., everyone, almost every parent, including myself, says that. We encourage our children to watch Bollywood movies, not only because of the fact that they're movies, but it keeps you in touch with the language.
Well, you know, it's funny because I speak Gujarati pretty fluently, and, you know, I don't really watch Gujarati film. I feel like I've seen maybe one or two of those here and there. And Hindi, obviously, Bollywood film is what my parents were watching all the time. And so, we weren't, at that time there weren't subtitles, back in the day when we were growing up. And so, age myself. so we'd always stop, what'd they say, and you start to learn the different things, and then you would start to speak it, and you would act out scenes from it, and all of a sudden I could speak Hindi, in a way that was, you could be conversant in it. And then I'd go to India, and I'd want to practice, so I'd speak either Hindi or Gujarati, and my cousins want to practice English, so they're speaking English, and everything's a mess because none of us really speak it perfectly. But that's the way to learn, and I actually took some classes in India as well because I wanted to learn how to read and write.
Oh,
so
good for
that
you.
helped. Once I could read it, then I could, the grammar of it helped, because before I spoke it and it was a mess grammar-wise, and now it helps that I can see it in front of me.
So when you were watching these movies, any particular favorites?
Oh God, I loved Sridevi. I grew up just loving her, and Amitabh. Everyone loves him, but he really is just it, There's no one like him. Still to this day, like no one even compares. Yeah. And those two together, and Madhuri I loved as well. Madhuri Dixit. So between like those three, I was happy.
Why are you like this?
You don't like me this way?
I like you very much, but why do you make things so difficult?
I frighten you?
You're not like anyone I know.
You're not used to my type.
No, I am not.
If you're looking for an obedient wife, you're looking in the wrong direction.
That is quite clear.
I'm not going to marry you someday because we both happen to be Indian.
I agree.
So tell me, when was the first time, or was it just something that simmered over time, you realized your calling, or you realized your love for acting and cinema?
I always loved movies, and I always loved performing. I was dancing a lot growing up, but I also loved sports. I played tons of sports growing up, and I played basketball a lot. And this is a funny story, is when I was in 9th grade is when I auditioned for a play, kind of as on a whim, dare type thing, and I got, a major part in it in high school. And I had to decide if I would be able to do the play or the basketball because, rehearsal-wise and practice time. And I decided, oh, what the heck, no one, everyone's like, you want to do a play? And I'm like, all right, I'll do a play, let's see what happens. And that's where I ended up just, from that moment on.
And what play was that?
It was this one-act play called Slight Indulgences. I can't believe I even remember that name. It's just
That's great.
Some random, some random play. And I was terrible in it. And I think that's what it was, that I couldn't figure it out.
Why
it wasn't
would you say that?
Because I was really bad. I remember it to this day. I remember feeling completely like a fish out of water. And I was always a good student, and I could always go into class and do the work and study and get straight A's, and there would be a way to figure everything out. And acting to me was this very mysterious thing, this enigma that eluded me because I couldn't get it. I didn't get it. And that, just not being able to be good at that, pissed me off so much, really, that I was like, I'm gonna figure this out, because I was really bad. Yeah, I wasn't good. And so I just started getting more interested in figuring it out, and in that process, fell in love with it. I didn't intend to be an actress, just ended up becoming what happened.
Save it, Surreal.
Come on, Maya, don't be bad. I swear to God, this isn't what it looks like.
I should have known that you were on the rebound.
I'm not on the rebound.
Well, then what? Because it's clear that you still want her.
I don't still want her.
Is it because she's not Indian?
I don't still want her. I think you're overreacting.
I'm overreacting? I just spent one of the most amazing nights ever with you, and you're in bed with your ex-girlfriend. I want you to tell me how to react.
How did your family take it when you told them? Or when did you break it to them that, listen, this
I don't
is
even
what
think I realized that it was what I wanted to do until I was thinking, when you're applying to schools and you're thinking about what you want to do and what's important, because I changed my mind every day for so long, from being an astronaut to being a teacher to, everything that I was interested in. And then that was the one thing that was always the constant for me, and I couldn't imagine not having them in my life on a basis of just every day. And I knew that it was probably the craziest decision, whatever, especially for someone of my personality, is needing to have things organized and planned and controlled, which is nothing like this business. And I just kind of dove head in, and my parents were like, "You're gonna be an actress?" Like, it's not anything that they had really been used to or heard of, certainly. And I had a lot of potential back in the day, Reshma. So, back in the day, I had a lot of potential for my life and my career, studious, academic-wise.
Oh, little Samir Singh and his little red race car bed.
Hey, you've always liked my little red race car. Come on, my dad's not gonna be home for a couple hours.
Sam, traditions.
Oh, come on, don't play games with me. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna win. Sooner or later, you're gonna succumb to my charming ways.
You're a dork.